So working on the 3/4 ton. I have to change the clock spring because it got smashed when some scab bag tried to steal it. So we're changing the clock spring, but I got it a little bit apart right now because it's easier to show you when it's partly apart, and then I'll video the rest of it. So you want to unhook your batteries because you're playing with the airbag. You just want to make sure that you're safe with that, because if it goes off, it's a bad deal for your face. So anyways, there is through the back here, you can get at these screw holes, and I just use my electric my electric ratchet, 10 mil. And then there's also, if you look right here, there is 2 screws, and they're Phillips. So, and you can access them back through the back here as well, right here. So you need to take those off as well. And then you just need to unclip the clips, one for the airbag. I need 2 hands for doing it. And then there's also the clip for the switches for your cruise control and stuff. And then your horn switch, which is this one, which just pulls apart as well. So, and then what you do is you take off this nut, and then you'll have to put your steering wheel puller on there, pull the steering wheel off, and then your clock spring is right behind there. So I think what I'm going to try to do is set up the camera in this area somewhere, and we will see how, I should be able to maybe set it up somewhere. I'll set it up somewheres, and we'll get after doing this. All right, so I got the airbag pulled off. Pretty easy to pull off. I'll bring you guys in before I put it back on, just show you how to undo the clips, just because I can't get the camera where I want to get it, and I don't have somebody helping me. So it is a 13/16 socket to pull the steering wheel off. And then, like I said, you need a steering wheel puller of some sort. You can just buy a super cheap one. It does not need to be a high quality piece, because they're not that hard. Sometimes they'll actually just pull off, but this one apparently not so much. Something else you should do too is mark the column to know where it came off. I think, if I remember, it's been a while since I had one of these apart. I'm pretty sure it has a master spline, so it'll only go on in one spot, but just better safe than sorry. So I look at that. Get this in there. Now you guys can see a little bit better here now. Well, let me pull this off. Well, actually, I guess I can show you. So the plug that goes right here in the middle of the airbag, it literally just pulls straight out. You got to be careful that you don't break that. So you need to be able to hold on to this and kind of wiggle it. Usually what I do is I just take a screwdriver and go on the outside. Make sure you don't go in the middle, but go on the outside and just pry it up. Like I said, make sure you have your batteries unhooked when you're doing this. And then this one that just has a little clip right here. And then for the the horns is this connector here. You just pull the plastic piece off, and there's a retainer on it, so you have to push down on the little tab to unlock it. But you push it one way. If it doesn't work, just pull it the other way. This one you push. So anyways, just thought I would mention. Get that in there. Should be able to wind these in my hand far enough for this to do its job. That's all she takes to take the steering wheel off. You do need to watch the plugs. That's what I was thinking. Hopefully I have the right clock spring. All this stuff is starting to get hard to get for these old girls, so if you're having, you see this stuff, if you happen to see stuff new and that type of stuff, I would recommend to, if you plan on keeping one of these trucks for a long time, and you happen to see some of this stuff new, I would recommend just buying it, like clock springs and stuff like that. I realize it's one of those things, it's just like, wow, am I ever gonna need a clock spring? Maybe not, but I don't know if you can buy them new anywhere anymore. I found this one was out of the old school Dodge warehouse. They only had one, and I bought it. So anyways, so as far as the clock spring goes at this point, you do need to So see these two flats, if you look on the bottom of the steering wheel, the two flats, that's what actually moves it back and forth. So you want to make sure you have that lined up in the same position. I just got to grab the clock spring, which is of course in the back seat. Voila, clock spring. Now there is a clip on the bottom here. It's the same style of clip as this one. So you just need to pull the little clip up, and then this, I got retarded, will pull off. Won't pull off. Come on. It's been a long time since I changed one of these, like I said. There is one more wire that we need to deal with too. That's not a big deal. Oh yeah. There's little, the top one on this is broken, but if you look on here, if you can see that, that's what actually retains the clock spring. Now for this one, honestly, it doesn't really matter if we break it, because the clock spring is smashed. So there we go. Pin out. Now this wire does go down in there, which I actually completely forgot about. So we're gonna have to pull the kick panel down to change that. Which is just this plug, which is not too hard to change, but it's just we have to take it apart. So let's take this off. Oh yeah. All right, I gotta take that right off. I was hoping I could just shrink it down a little bit, but like I said, it's been a long time since I changed one of these. Actually, something I'm looking forward to is I'm going to get this thing detailed, because it hasn't been detailed for a long time. Looking forward to that. So, the wire that we need is right here somewhere. So, it's basically, for you guys that are looking, it's basically right down in here. Hopefully you can see that. It's basically right beside your hood latch. It's actually pinned into the bottom of the is attached to the bottom of the little metal bracket there. So I just need to unplug that. Oh. Here we go. Get that out of there. Oh yes, something we need to do. All right, do yourself a favor. Before you pull this out, because it's stuck in between there, if you take a piece of wire, you can use a piece of electrical wire and loop it around your connector, right? And just put a couple wraps of electrical tape around it. Because when you go and you pull this out, just don't get me wrong, you can get a snake back in there. But of course it's going to wrap itself around. There we go. So now you got your piece of wire in there, right? So now just take the electrical tape off, and you can just hook this wire. Old clock spring, all good. Now you can hook this wire to your new clock spring wire. A couple rounds of electrical tape again. Right? That's just to hold the wire on there. You don't really have to get carried away with putting it on there. Just a couple wraps. Now you can take this same wire. You don't want to pull really hard, because worst case scenario, this piece does come off relatively easy, but you can get that snake through there and not have to take it off. It's just one less thing they have to do. There we go. So now as we do, you want to make sure you loop the wire over the connector though, because if you don't, you will pull it out when you do that. And if you're doing it like with a normal piece, I do that all the time. Doing it with a normal piece of wire, what I do is I like make like a reef knot type of idea, or some sort of a knot, a loop, so that it can't pull it out. But not that it saves you lots of time, but 5 minutes is 5 minutes. Right, so what we'll do is we'll plug this. Yeah, that thing's ready. We'll pull this wire down in there. We're going to connect this wire to that. We'll put the clock spring on. Oh, there's nothing's busted. You have to make sure you get the holes lined up though, because now, like I said, being that we know which way this was pointing here to start with, there's little tabs in there that you have to pull out. We'll just leave them in there for now until we get ready to put the steering wheel back on. So I can't remember. Actually, you know what? It doesn't have a master spline on it, so it's a good thing we marked it. Otherwise, it would not have been in the right spot. So this connector back down in here. And it finds its home. There we go. And we're gonna put a couple that wrap down in there where it needs to go. Put a couple zip ties on. Get it cleaned up a bit here. Wiring in this thing is atrocious, to be totally honest, but I don't care. This thing is now kind of turned into the workhorse of the fleet. So, you know, obviously we'll keep it in good shape, but it's not the prized possession anymore. More like the red-headed stepchild, I guess you would say. That there. All right, so we need to, there's little plastic clips, if I remember right. Oh no, no, sorry. They need to, you just push them down. I was thinking that you had to pull them out, but you just have to push them down. And being that I didn't have the steering wheel straight, maybe I should have straightened it before we did this. But, we have to snake the wires back through here again, right? Just like we did to start with after we took them out. Sneak those back in there. Come on. There we go. And then also the one for the horn. Sneaky. It goes on the top. And being that we did mark that, we're good like that, I think. One more. And I think, yep, we should be good, I think. Now, steering wheel nut, because we don't want the steering wheel to pull back off again. I'm sure there is a torque spec for this, but yeah. Oops, that's the wrong size. If you would like, you probably could look this torque spec up if you really like. I'm going to say it's about that tight. Should be good. Perfect. Okay, so now that we got that, I'm going to put this lower section, this lower piece back on again. All right, so we got that back together. Now we need to put the airbag back on, and like I said, the connector for the airbag, oh actually, let's do, so the horn connector, new connector, you just slide it together and make sure that you get it clipped, and then when you get it clipped, you can actually hear it snap together. I don't know if you heard it or not, but it snaps together, so you don't have to worry about that one. Get this plugged in, flip around the right way. And then also the airbag, like I said, it clips in, no big deal. Make sure you don't pinch the wires in there. Got that good. Now we are going to put the nuts back on, and there is 4 nuts that go on there. So now that we got that done, that's cool. And now we just need to put the clamshell on the outside back on. And then we should be good as far as that goes, other than it really needs a good cleaning. So I'm gonna go grab the clamshell. We're putting the clamshell on, and yeah, that will have this fixed. The only thing else I need to fix on the truck now is we still have to get the door re-wrapped. And I actually did buy a different door for the truck, but I think that I'm gonna wait to put it on. So I'm just gonna we're gonna fix the paint and re-wrap the door. I'm gonna wait to put it on until we repaint the truck, I think, because I don't think it makes sense to paint the door and then repaint the truck, because I'm planning on repainting the truck probably next year, maybe this winter, I don't know. But I would like to repaint the truck. So I'm gonna go grab the clamshell and okay. So we got the clamshell, I just had to get them out of the package. Upper clamshell literally just will drop. Oh, I shouldn't say that. You need to take the tilt steering. If that truck has tilt steering, you need to take this tilt steering. It's actually a different part number technically for the upper one, but they're starting to get hard to get, so whichever one you can get. You need to take this out. Your upper clamshell will just drop right on there. Then your lower clamshell. So there again, this bottom one is actually discontinued completely, so you can't buy it at all. So there again, if you happen to see them and they're in good shape, I would recommend just grabbing new ones. 2 of these screws, one holds each side of this piece, which is this, and then there's this screw. Actually, maybe it's in the kit. And then there's one that goes in the bottom that holds everything kind of together. And they're at Torx. Both of them are a Torx, same size. Okay, so we got 2. You need a screwdriver like this just because of the long shank, long same size shank. So, all right, there we go. So there we are, guys. Oh, I guess we have to put our lever back in. There we go. We can adjust the steering wheel. Everything's back together. Clock's being engaged. We're good to go. Remember, it's not rocket science.